Hello and welcome to a brand new preview episode for Black and Black Cinema. I'm your host Jay. I'm here with my co-host Micah
Hey,
and Terrence.
what's up?
All right, guys, we're back. This is a preview for episode 242, Miss Juneteenth. This is the 2020 film starring Nicole Beharie. The logline for this is: a former beauty queen and single mom prepares her rebellious teenage daughter for the Miss Juneteenth pageant. You can check this out. You can rent this on on Amazon, or if you have, I believe this is a BET Plus film. So if you have BET Plus, you should be able to get it there for free. But if not, you can rent it through Amazon, or directly through Roku, I think, or YouTube, by the way. So check out Miss Juneteenth, and we will dig into that next week. Unfortunately, Tiara is not here for this preview episode, but she'll be back for episode 242. So the random topic this week is it's kind of an interesting one. There was an article that came out today about how some popular black blogs and I guess in podcasts as well, like No Jumper and the Shade Room, are consistently pushing sort of right-wing narratives to black people, where like No Jumper apparently is platforming a bunch of like racist and white supremacists and misogynists and all this other stuff. And the Shade Room is also pushing a lot of like articles where they're, I guess, quoting a lot of right wingers on and pushing a lot of right wing conspiracies. Okay, that's weird in and of itself, but I guess the larger point that we want to talk about is, what does this cause sort of in the black community? These sort of like divisions are seeming to be on a rise, as far as divisions between black men and black women, black straight folks and black gay or trans folks, and things like that, which are a lot of times pushed on these type of blogs as sort of, let's just push these articles because they get they get people agitated and they're controversial, so you get a bunch of engagement. So what do you guys think about this?
Look, I don't know. I don't know popular things. I've
Thanks,
never heard
Dan.
of. I've never heard of No Jumper. I've heard of the Shade Room, and is World Star still a thing that people do?
Is it? I mean, people yell it.
Yeah. But the only reason I find this interesting is, I feel like this is a new type of I feel like this is the new Jim Crow, right? I feel like this is the new thing that's kind of keeping black people down, right? Because all I see is this in the circles that I do hang out in, not hang out in, but the circles that I am aware of. There's a lot of dudes out there, black dudes, who just shit on women, black women, for seemingly no reason, aside from no real reason, right? Like, the reasons they give are like, well, she should submit to me, or like, what? Like, you got to learn how to
55, yo. That's not how
yo.
That's not how things work.
Like, when I first learned what a divested was, I was taken aback. Right, I was taken aback. I was like, "Oh shit!" And then I thought about it, and I'm like, "Well, yeah, this is just the natural progression of, if people are gonna keep, if you're gonna keep oppressing people. I mean, maybe that's a strong word, but I don't think so. If you're gonna keep oppressing black women, of course they're gonna just be like, well, fuck black men." And I always wonder, like, where did this come from and who is perpetuating this, right? Because like, these women didn't just get it in their head that like black men ain't shit. And these black men didn't just get it in their head that like black women ain't shit, right? Like, especially because like guys, guys tend to be like mama's boys. They, not in the derogatory sense, like that one movie where Terrence J couldn't like have sex with a woman without his mother being there. Right. I think that was like Think Like a Man or something like that. But,
Wow, that is a fucking problem.
but I don't know, man. I always wonder, like, what is this divide? Who originated this divide? Who is perpetuating this divide? And apparently, it's white people. Apparently, it's white people.
We always knew.
I mean, because racism, right? Apparently, it's white people running these, like, hip hop blogs and these like pseudo black blogs, right? Like I hesitate to call like the Shade Room and I guess No Jumper. I've never heard of this before today. I hesitate to call them black blogs, but they're like hip hop blogs.
Shade was created by a black woman initially. Okay. So I don't know what it is now. I don't know if she still runs it. I don't know what's going on with it.
No, well, a black woman does still run the Shade Room.
Okay.
Well, I mean, it's disheartening to me. It's disheartening to me because it's like, I don't find this amusing, yo. I don't find like, and I'm not here to like put on a cape and try to save black women. Like, yo, y'all get on my nerves sometimes too, but like, there's no need.
Oh, nigga, you done fucked up now.
I know, I done fucked up now. But there's no need to put everybody down for. I don't get it. Somebody explain it to me because I'm old and I don't like change.
I don't have an answer for you. Yeah, well, the Shade Room was created by a black woman. I know you asked about what the fuck was that? World Star. That's technically World Star Hip Hop, created by a black dude. I think he passed away a couple years back. I don't know. Again, I think these are actually run by black people. And the thing that I see with these nigga blogs is they post information. That's what I call them. I'm sorry, because like when you look at the fucking responses when they post a story, like it's just a bunch of niggas, man. It's just a bunch of ignorant niggas, and that's the problem. Because they'll post a story.
Wasn't laughing. I wasn't laughing because it was something I hadn't thought about. it was because
I'm like, of course I'd be the one to say it. But if you actually look at the story, sometimes the story can be very innocuous, right? It'll be something just really innocuous. It's not too big, but then you'll see people in the comment section like never read the comments of anything, honestly, because it's just a bunch of niggas just saying wild shit. It could be like a super innocuous story about like a dude that got kicked out of a restaurant for like being black or some shit like that. But the guy might happen to be gay, right? Don't let the nigga be gay because then like the homophobia just jumps out of the screen in the comment section, and it's just gross. Like, what's wrong with us? Like sometimes I'm like, why? What is the hatred just because the dude happens to be gay, or the person happens to be trans, or it happens to be a woman that got upset because she got tossed out? It's just an odd thing, and they profit off of it. I mean, they'll just they just post the stories, and sometimes they don't do the due diligence to like do the actual research to see if the story is true, or if like quotes that they put in the story are true or not. And yeah, they're just blogs. They don't necessarily have to because they're not news organizations. But this is where a lot of black people get their news, and that's the biggest issue.
Yeah, like I'm not.
You should not do.
Yeah, like I'm not necessarily blaming these blogs for existing, but the onus is on like us as people who take in this stuff to like maybe think about it a little bit. Like I know thinking's hard. I know.
It really isn't. No, it isn't. No, it's not. Don't do that. It's not hard. It's very easy. You literally
saying, yo. I mean, I'm being facetious, right? But I'm being facetious, right? Like,
I understand.
Like Googling something just to make sure that it's true. If you care that much, if you care enough to like share it, then you should care enough to
enough
make
to
sure
respond.
that it's right. If you care enough to respond, you should care enough to make sure it's true. Like, I don't care about I don't care about, I'm on the shave room now. I don't care about Summer Walker and
You sound
and,
like
and her
somebody's
birthday.
grandpa.
Yo, I don't
Summer-
know who Summer Walker is, yo. I don't
God
know
damn,
who that
nigga. Even
is.
I know who Summer Walker is. Jesus.
I don't know who that is.
R&B singer.
She is, in
R&B?
fact.
Okay.
I don't know what R&B is. I don't know what R&B is anymore, to be perfectly honest with you. But she's a singer.
Yeah, okay. I mean, all right. I don't care enough to research it, right? So I'm not gonna share it. But yeah, but like I'm not faulting these tabloids for existing, right? But because we need Black perspectives on everything,
Yeah,
even
absolutely.
something as silly and stupid as celebrity culture. But I think the internet has just made us fucking dumb, yo. We don't even we just see shit and we don't read the story. Like, I could have found out who Summer Walker was if I clicked the link, right? But I don't care. I'm just
Right. Yeah, you don't care enough, so it really doesn't matter. But
But I would never go out and share it, right? Oh my gosh, can you believe it's Summer Walker's birthday today or whatever, right? Like I would do my research.
If you ever sent me an article that said, "Yo, it's Summer Walker's birthday," yo, I'm gonna block you. Yo. I was like, "Damn, Micah got his phone stolen. This is crazy." Like, no, and that's nothing against Summer Walker. Like, it's
not. It's the onus is on me. Again, the onus is on me. I don't know who you are. I'm not into popular stuff anymore, apparently.
Yeah.
But yeah, but my point is, like, I think we all need to be a little nicer to each other. Like, why do we immediately, like you said, like given your example, if a Black person got kicked out of a restaurant for being Black and they happen to be gay or trans, the narrative completely shifts to them being gay or trans. I still look, I'm one of the bad people. I still I watch a Breakfast Club interview depending on who they are interviewing. As silly as those people are, and as not as smart as I would think they should be, they do get incredible. They just had
they get good guests sometimes.
They just had the guy who got ousted in Tennessee.
Yeah.
And that was a very interesting hour of interview. I didn't read any of the comments because I never read any of their listeners, their hardcore fans' comments, because they're usually they run the gamut. And I'm not a gambler. I'm not taking I'm not ready to see one of those comments and get pissed and have, just be agitated by it.
Yeah.
So but like, what's the who is why do we do this? Like, who?
Okay, so I have a theory as to why this is so prevalent. It is, our lives are as hard as they are because of things that we cannot control, and it is way easier to rage about stupid shit than to actually have to deal with real shit. Right? It is so much easier to be like, Black women don't love Black men the way they supposed to, blah, 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 some horse shit. And it's easier for, going the other way. Black men ain't shit. None of them are good. Because at the end of the day, what we really should be talking about is how we're being dehumanized and how we're being treated so poorly, and how those divisions in those relationships between Black men and Black women that are not their fault, generational trauma that is not their fault, has caused a lot of these issues. It's a lot easier to just point at some random dude you don't know on the internet and be like, you're the problem, instead of actually having to fundamentally look at where those problems came from, right? That affect you directly, not just some random nigga on the internet, but affect you quite directly, right? Like we did Claudine a couple of weeks ago. Like, and I talked about that whole idea of like, if you have a system that pushes black men out of the household, and young women grow up in households where their fathers and their grandfathers are not there, what is the perspective they're going to have on men? Is that they knock women up, they leave, so that guy ain't shit. So when they go and they meet somebody, they have a this needle in the back of their mind that this person isn't going to be shit, and it starts to create a situation that divides black men and black women. Right? Those are things that fundamentally have broken a lot of relationships and a lot of black people for generations. They have, and that's a program done by the government where they thought they were helping. And they just didn't give a fuck enough to do actual systemic research and think about what choices they were making, right? They weren't necessarily being malicious in that regard. They were just being just kind of ignorant, right? Like they didn't know. But that's a fundamental issue with how black people are treated in this country anyway. So like, I think that divide just comes from sort of these generational things, but I think people love to sort of needle in on these like nonsensical things because it's so much easier than dealing with the real serious shit that affects us. So I wish we were getting our news, and it's obviously not all black people. That would be ridiculous to say, but I wish more people were getting their news from better sources. Like, no offense to any of these blogs, but I don't think you should be getting your like hard-hitting news from Baller Alert. That sounds insane to say, but I think that is how some people do it. No, that's more, it's going to skew more young. I hope, like, I really hope there's not people in there like 55, like, yo, what's the new Baller Alert commentary? I hope not.
Baller Alert, like, they tout themselves as celebrity gossip, right? So, like, if you're getting, like, news from Baller Alert, you have a fucking problem.
I mean, I'm looking at an article about the Baltimore Bear wants to implement a summer curfew for minors. Like, that's on Baller Alert.
Oh, well, okay. I mean, that's actual news.
Yeah.
They do have political news.
Look, as a person who runs a political podcast, again, I'm just gonna go out on a whim and say Baller Alert is not where I would get my best political news. I'm just saying. Look, maybe a headline where you're like, oh, that's kind of interesting, I want to read more. Go read more.
Like, if you're just taking it from like somewhere else and then you're just kind of putting it on your platform, I guess that's fine. Like, I'm looking at the political, like, this seems fine, but how many people actually click this link, click this actual tab?
Yeah, did you get a 404 error when you clicked on it?
It's called Poly Alert. Like, when you click on it, it's a different website.
It's an entirely different website.
Right. It's not Baller Alert anymore. So probably not a lot of people. Yeah.
Well, enough for it to be a completely different website. I mean, these are like legit news stories.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, but you know what? We just discovered this shit. How many people out there knew Poly Alert existed?
There's exactly zero comments on these stories.
On any of them, yeah, because no one goes there.
No one goes there.
So they're trying to do it. They're at least trying to do their due diligence. Let's see if the Shade Room, news and politics. They have news and politics also. This is about Firefest. Okay, why the fuck do you have? You know what?
Okay, so that's old. So they don't update anything.
No. He wants to do a Firefest
coming
too.
Back.
Oh god,
yeah, he wants to do another one. So this came out like today. Alaska father gets new heart months after missing transplant due to historic winter storm. That's cool.
Okay. I'm not going to go.
See, but here's the thing, right? I'm not trying to knock anybody's hustle. Mm-hmm. I'm on Poly Alert, and I am I click on one of the names of the people who wrote the story, and there's nothing. Like, there's no bio, there's no like credentials. Not that you necessarily have to have like a bunch of advanced degrees.
No,
but I want to know who is writing this story. I don't know, man. I don't know. and it's
Okay,
sad,
it's an aggregate kind of thing. Like I just looked at Wesley Muller wrote this story. 5 white cops plead not guilty in the death of black motorist Ronald Green. They got it from the Louisiana Illuminator.
Okay,
So they're
just
kind of
pulling
taking story. Yeah, they're pulling stories from other websites and putting it on their website. So, okay. So they're not writing the stories. But again, no one probably goes to that fucking section of Baller Alert, if we're being honest.
But let's get back. Let's get back to the division aspect of it. I mean, does it feel like we're more divided? And I don't mean as a nation or anything. I mean specifically black people. Does it feel like we're more divided than we have been in sort of our history, like in our recent
Yes, absolutely. Are you kidding me? The way that that black men talk about black women,
even in person, in like IRL, because I don't like look. I get all my I see all of this discord online, so I don't know how niggas act like offline, like in person. Because
no idea.
I don't hang out with them people though. You know what I mean?
I neither do I, so I don't know.
So I have to assume. I have to assume that the internet is like the best type of wrestling gimmick. It's just your personality turned up to 11, right? So I have to imagine that those people exist and they think like this. I just, but yeah, I do from the outside looking in, I do think that we are way more divided than we used to be because, black women are still like leading, sticking up for black men whenever possible. Right. But if they criticize, not even criticize, if they critique a black man, then well, fuck you then, bitch, right? Like that's what it turns
Baltimore
into.
response,
right?
Yeah,
and
such an odd response.
Yeah, man.
What you wanted to fuck me 5 seconds ago. What the fuck?
Exactly. Exactly.
I've changed my mind.
And I feel like in like we deal in the nerd space, and black women are just not allowed at all, right? Like you're just not.
I'm not so sure women in general, the way people talk.
Women in general, but
black women
specifically, right? Like
you can't even be on Star Wars.
Nigga, Obi-Wan Kenobi had to come out and say, "Hey guys, stop being racist to this character, to this woman who is in this story." Like, nigga, Obi-Wan Kenobi had to come out and tell people to not be racist.
And they were like, hold on for a second. We get to do what we want. They still didn't leave. Listen, they're like, we fuck with you, but knock it off. That's a bridge too far.
So yeah, I think that black men, if we're being perfectly honest, not all black men qualify. There's enough of y'all out there. There's enough of y'all out there that really have some sort of issues. Like your mom didn't love you, and you no love for your daddy because the coward wasn't there, right? And also he died. Like like the very next lyric you said he died. Like, goddamn, is he a coward for dying? What the fuck? Always bothered me, yo. That always bothered me. Yeah, man. I think black men need to kind of, men in general, but black men specifically, because like we're not a huge, like we are losing the numbers game, and I think we need to, quote unquote, be a man, right? And what am I trying to say? There are certain privileges that men have in this world and that women don't. And if a woman wants to, stick up for herself, God forbid, or if you get like, if a woman vents and you're the brunt of it, maybe you can man up and just kind of take it and then talk to him and see what's wrong. I just don't understand why we don't talk to each other. We don't talk to each other, yo. We have these weird asymmetrical conversations
Yes.
where people will make a video and then somebody will respond to the video and then someone will respond to the response of the video, and it's not we're not talking to each other.
Yeah, I agree with that a lot. I think, look, I remember where there used to be this is how old I am. Back early in YouTube, like there was a thing that you could do like that, right? It was like you could make response videos, and people would do that. Like you'd put out a video and someone would do a response video, and people would have a response, but like those two people would have like a back and forth, right? It wasn't like I make one and then everybody starts to make ancillary ones off of my response, which is weird and no one's listening to those, right? But you're right. We are having sort of these asymmetrical conversations. And look, I think the internet is broken. Like, I think fundamentally it's broken. Like, it really is. It was supposed to be a tool to bring people together, and it quite literally has made us completely divided. Like, people in general, and very specifically in this case, Black people. Like, we don't talk to each other. We don't, like, so many times do I see conversations of like, Black men do X, ba 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 ba. Black women do Y, ba 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 ba. And I'm like, the two of you should sit in a room and have a real conversation, because it's very weird that both of you are only speaking about people on the extremes, right? Like that's a thing that like I say on our shows all the time, like, or some variation of it. The internet is where nuance has gone to die. Like, there is no conversations happening where anybody has any level of nuance. It is the most extreme stances on everything. People fuck up. They have to be dismissed from all of life, never to return, never to be able to make amends, all of that shit. Like, we have destroyed that. And I don't mean people who are like rapists and shit. Like, I'm not talking about that, but just like might have said something you didn't agree with, right? And I don't even mean like bigotry. I mean just like a sentiment you didn't fuck with, right? So like it's very weird, and I don't know how we get back. And I feel like the only way, even though it would hurt us and this show, is to just turn it off. Like all of it. And just turn off the internet for like 10 years and just make people talk to each other. Like I truly believe that. Like there is something very scary about how the pandemic made it 1,000 times worse, by the way.
Yeah, I was about to say that.
But like, we don't know how to interact as human beings anymore. Like, we had a whole conversation before this show, and we were just like, yeah, we couldn't actually have that conversation online because it would get turned into a complete nightmare because people don't listen. They don't listen anymore. Like, yeah. Like you would have to throw in it, like, it would, if we had that conversation on this show or publicly, it would literally just have to be like the credits of a movie that were just a bunch of caveats. We're not talking about this. We're not offending you. We're not referring to this. But you know, like it would just be a constant run of trap doors because people would just come up with scenarios to be, you know, to be pissed off about or not understand it or take it the wrong way on purpose, you know, shit like that. Like, because we've lost an ability to talk to each other. And I don't mean like, hey, why can't I say the F word? I don't mean dumb shit like that. I mean like, because like that's what people think a conversation is now. Like that's not what it is. But we have just lost all sense of how to interact with each other, and Black people are losing it within our own community, and it's fucking terrifying to me because I don't know how you get back. I really don't. I don't know how you get back. Besides, leave your fucking house.
Do you think the internet is exacerbating it? Because again, the internet, everyone's on the internet, but at the same time, like internet sentiment isn't the same as real life sentiment, right? So like if
right,
these
true.
people are actually out in real life, talking to each other, is it really as bad as the internet says it is? Because like every other podcast, like we've been doing this shit for like 11 years, right? But in the last 5 years, all of these blogs, all of these podcasts are literally about like relationships. And like
Yeah,
how
so
a bunch
many
of
of them.
single niggas are talking about how women ain't shit, and how a bunch of single women are talking about how niggas ain't shit. I'm like, none of y'all are in relationships. So why the fuck would we listen to your relationship advice? Like,
Fair
you two
enough.
are married. I'm not. You don't listen to relationship advice from my ass. I'm not married. but like, I have common sense, right?
Right.
Like, so these shows and these blogs and everything, when we're like the divide that we see, I see a lot of black people getting married. Also,
Yeah.
I see that all the time. So like, what's the reality? Like, is it just I don't think the internet is reality. Like, I know we were talking about this, but I don't think the internet is the actual reality. I do know that, Micah, that you have like some of your wife's friends have conversations about like how niggas ain't shit. A lot of them are single. So like there is that, but they're very successful. All right.
Yeah,
Like they're
so
very
it's
successful
it's
men, and they're looking for men that they just can't seem to find. And I get that.
it's
That's
it's
true.
weird, man.
Yeah, that's a real
It's
thing.
true, and it is
Yeah.
weird. Like, there's a bunch of fine ass women, got their own money, got their own jobs, got their own houses and shit. Like, what
Yeah,
the
but that's
fuck?
their problem.
As much as you lazy niggas want,
Hashtag girl boss. That's the problem. Y'all fucking
Right.
up
That's
some
what
regular niggas.
dudes would say. That's
Yeah.
the issue. Like, they have everything that they have. They don't need. I always say this. Like, women don't necessarily need a man. They don't. And that's that's not a problem, but that's what men are mad about. Like, they don't need you anymore.
I'll push back on that a little bit. That's what boys are
Is
mad
it?
about.
I mean, well,
Like,
boys,
because
man,
to
whatever.
me,
Like,
to me,
same shit.
I don't understand why you wouldn't want to be with somebody who got their own shit together. Like, the whole point is men shouldn't need a woman to be an adult either. You should.
That's the problem.
Like, you should want to get together because you're both adults.
That's the issue. Like, there's still this antiquated notion that like I need to be the leader of that. Like, there's some women are fine with that. Like, I lead.
Sure.
Like Monique, she's like, I lead. Like, she makes more money than her husband.
Yeah, because
Right?
he's
Monique.
he's a
Like,
remore, right? He's just like sucking resources off
Like,
of her.
she's the breadwinner, but she still calls her husband daddy because like that's the fucking bizarre dynamic that they have. And like she's like, look, when I come home, I like greet my husband and then I greet my children, and he's the leader and all this other shit. So she believes in that shit, and that's fine. Like, you can believe in it, but she doesn't need her husband. She don't need that nigga.
No,
He needs her.
He needs her.
Right. But like,
Right,
so
but
there are
that's the
some
thing.
women that do believe that, but like a lot of women are like, no, we can be equals. Even though I make more money than you, we can still be equals. And that's the problem that I think niggas have. They
Look,
like,
let me
sometimes
tell you
some of them are
something.
like, I don't like the fact that you make more money. Others are like, nah, I'm the leader. It's like, no, the fuck you not, nigga. Calm down. Right. And that's the issue.
Yeah,
And it's just like, you're gonna have to get over that.
you have to. You have to.
Yeah.
The
She's just gonna be mad at each other for infinity. It's fucking ridiculous.
the gap between the two wages in my house, my wife makes more money than me. The gap between the two wages in my house, people would kill for to have
Just for
that
the gap.
salary, right?
Just for the gap.
Just for the gap, right? Just for the gap. And my wife certainly doesn't need me, but she wants me. And that's what these dudes don't understand, yo.
Gross.
I mean, who doesn't?
Right,
That's what these dudes.
You gotta relax. You gotta relax.
That's what these dudes don't understand, yo. It's like, you gotta, like, especially nowadays, yo. Women don't need you, but you gotta bring something to the table that makes them want you.
Yeah.
And I just don't. And people don't want to.
And but I think that goes both ways. I
yes,
truly
absolutely.
do. It goes both ways.
Absolutely. Because, but that's what people don't understand, right? Like, that's what. I mean, I don't want to shit on my own religion, but like.
I'll do it for you.
Yeah.
You want me to? I volunteer tribute. Hold on. If you don't want to do it, Terrence and I will step in for you.
But like, that's part of the problem, right? Like,
We're friends.
that there is some sort of pecking order, right?
Yes.
And in actuality, right? Like, people say that all the time, right? Like, well, I want my man to lead and stuff like that. Yeah, but it goes both ways, guys. Like it's more of like, here's the baton, you lead, I'll take it now, I'll lead. Like that's what it is in actuality. And I don't know if people understand that. Like I don't know if people get that. And they get the whole, God, man, woman, children, animals, right? And
So
they've
weird.
been and it's been kind of drilled into us, this warped notion. And we have to, and that's part of the divide, man. Like, because we get that from our religious doctrine, and we get that from people who don't know anything on the internet. And if enough people say it, people like they think that that's how it's supposed to be, right? Maybe that's how your parents were, right? My dad was the breadwinner. He went out and worked his ass off. And my mom, she worked and she did everything else. And he was the guy that, came home and got the big piece of chicken. and maybe that's it. Maybe that's part of it. But like, you got to learn how to evolve, man. I don't. And you got to stop listening to people in their cars. Like if they can't talk to you in their own house in a chair and give you advice with a Dr. Doom picture behind them, like they're not worth taking advice from. If they can't be bothered to get out of their goddamn car to give this advice, if they spell their last name weird with an X and an N next to each other, it's fucking weird, man. It's fucking weird. But if dudes like that can't even be in the house with his wife to give this advice, that should be a red fucking flag, yo.
Fucking some other chick,
Right, yeah.
That's why he was making those videos. Every time he made a video, he just got done banging out some other chick while his wife was at home.
Right.
He's like, let me tell you about my successful relationship with my side piece. Like, but like that idea, right? Listening to advice from people who aren't in relationships, like relationship advice, that is fucking bizarre to me. I'm like, why would you listen to
why would
people?
you listen to this nigga? Like, it's not working.
Like I can't find a girlfriend, but look, let me tell you how to do it. Like, no, I'm good. Or I pay, obviously, women to sleep with me, Andrew Tate, right? Like, why would you listen to this dude? Like,
fresh and fit.
Right. Like, why would you listen to those clowns, right? So, so it, there is that idea, Micah, you use the exact right word, evolve, right? Like, we are in like, especially our generation and the generation below us, they are in a very weird position, which is things are changing really rapidly, but they come from households where things were more traditional, right? Dad, big piece of chicken, going out slaying the dragon, mom cooking the meal, right? Like that type of shit.
Peterson,
right? And like they grew up in some form of that, and so they think that that's the way it is. But then they go out in the real world, and it's like, well, women are going to college more than men. In the black community, black women are more enrolled in college than black men. They are making, they make, 75 cents to the dollar, but like, that's if you're both equal. Like, that's not always if you've got advanced college degrees and, and you're a black woman versus a black man who does not, right? So those things start to get really lopsided, right? So this idea of, because I'm a man, I should be in charge or whatever, that kind of falls away. Now, it doesn't mean that, like, it all depends on what you want. It doesn't mean that you have to be like, well, I'll just be a submissive cuck or whatever dumb shit, right? Because, like, that's not even what women are asking for. Women are just like, all right, can we just be equal partners? Like, equal partners? What the fuck? Like, nigga, they weren't equal partners when you were making more money. So, like, they're just looking for partnership. And to Micah's point, your wife or your husband shouldn't need you. They should want you. And if they just need you, that's not really a marriage, dude. And I'm not talking about like, oh, I can't walk. Like, I need your help. Like, help me up. I mean, but like, that's not what a marriage is. It should be between two people who can sustain themselves on their own for the most part, and they come together to make something greater, something bigger than themselves. You cannot raise kids if you are like you can't do it as well as you could. You can do it, but you can't do it as well as you could if one of you is also a dependent. Like, it doesn't work like that. The two of you have to be independent to some degree. I listen to these people talk, and look, it goes both ways. It's not just black men feeling that way about black women. It goes the other way, right? Like, we also, you can't have all the modern shit and be like, hey, I want equality, but at the same time, I need you as a black man to pay for everything. That don't work. It doesn't make any sense. So it's like, we all have to evolve and realize that things are changing. So if you want equality, equality goes both ways, which means some of the niceties you lose.
Yeah, I've seen it. I saw that my entire life. Like, both my parents worked. Like, they both brought home money. Again, they got married pretty young. I think my mother got married in 86. She'd been like 21 years old. And they both worked. Yep. And at one point, my brother got cancer, right? And my father took off of work. He was in the hospital every day with my brother. So my mother was the only one working. But it was a partnership. Like, they both made, like, my father made more money because he was a man. And I'm not saying that because, oh, he was smarter and no shit like that. No, he was he just made more money because he was a man. That's the world we live in, unfortunately. But yeah, they always worked at the same time. Like, me and my brother were home by ourselves a lot. But I saw like a partnership marriage. It wasn't like he was the head of the household. Like, now my mom did cook dinner, like, when he came home. Like, she cooked and all that other shit because that's just what she does. But like, I actually saw a partnership marriage my entire life.
Right. So
it's not a foreign concept to me. And I feel like it shouldn't be a foreign concept to people because, like, we live in 2023. I feel like some of these people that are in their like 20s and 30s, like, what did y'all see growing up? That's my thing. Like, what the fuck did you witness? Whether it was like, was it like, if a single parent household, okay, you don't really know what a marriage looks like. And so maybe you're like going to the internet to see what a marriage is supposed to look like, but you listen to a bunch of niggas that are not married. And those niggas that aren't married was listening to fucking, what's his name? The dude that passed away last year.
Kevin Samuels.
Kevin Samuels. Like, now, he was married and he had a child, but he got a divorce. But at least he was married at least once, right? I don't know how well that fucking, I don't know how the dynamic was in that relationship. But he wasn't the person he was when he started doing the fucking his YouTube shit. I'm sure of it because I saw his old YouTube shit. Different nigga, right? It was very different.
Good, guys. It wasn't.
Yeah, it was like, yeah, come on. So like, he's giving you information. Like, yeah, he read books and all this other stuff, but like, he's giving you information, and he's single.
Yeah, I don't understand.
Like, why are you listening to him? I don't fucking get it. Like, you're listening to a bunch of people that do not have girlfriends or wives. And clearly they don't like women.
If you don't spend enough time, if you don't spend enough time with the opposite, with anybody, how do you know them? Right? Like,
you don't know them on a day to day. You can't.
Right. Like, you can't, if you refuse to interact with women, if you refuse to interact with black women, you don't know what they're thinking. Black women, if you refuse to interact with black men, you don't know what they're thinking. There's a couple of videos out going around where there's a dude up there and his girlfriend or whatever is on the bed thrusting into the air, and he's timing her. It's like, yeah, do it. Yeah. Let's see how long you can do it, right?
I do it better. I do it harder than that.
And it's played for a joke, right? But it's actually, and there's a response, right? There's a response video of a woman timing a man and said, all right, bounce up and down on the bed with just your knees. Keep going. Good. Keep going. Nope. Keep going, right?
I haven't seen that one. That's pretty funny.
Yeah, that was pretty funny. I don't like that position personally.
Yeah, I don't need all that pressure on my. But whatever.
Because like you
Like,
might break my shit. Get the fuck off.
Right.
Get
Just
off,
grind.
get off,
So
get
smart.
off, get off it, get off it, get off it. Oh.
But look,
But it's funny.
but look, it's funny, it's play for laughs, but this is the type of shit that we need to be doing, right?
Right, like that's actually
this is the type of
lighthearted and
stuff-
kind of funny. Yeah.
Right.
This and we need to be able to talk to each other. We need to be able to have these kind of conversations with one another to get to know each other better. There was another Twitter thread that Jay sent me. I can't remember what it was, what the specifics of it. Do you remember? It was like, because we couldn't believe that women thought, oh, this must, yeah. It was a clip of a woman, and she was like, I make sure my man busts a nut 7 times a day.
Oh,
I
right,
make
right,
sure
right.
that's my job as a woman to make sure he busts a nut 7 times a day.
that
And
a
women and
Joke.
Like it turned out it was a joke, but like the comments
Okay.
were fucking hilarious.
right, the comments were, women were like, oh, of course, and men were like, nah, yo, that's a lot of work.
Yeah,
That's a lot of work.
and then there are men on there lying on their dicks, like,
I
well, if you
can
can't
go all
handle
night
it
long.
7 times, then you weak. Yo, 7 times, yo, relax. By the way,
And
you got
women-
busting a nut
You have
7
me
times with a
35
woman.
minutes once, and I'm good for the rest of the night. Fuck off. Like, sorry, I'm not doing 7. I'm not doing 7
Look,
times.
7
Get outta
times
here.
in 7 times in one day, none of it's good. I guarantee you, if you're having sex 7 times a day, none of it's good. Now you're
But here's
blowing
my
dust
point,
at that
right?
point. Knock it off.
Here's my point. When we all thought this was real, the women were surprised at the reaction that half of these men were giving. Like they were surprised at the men going, "Nah, that's a lot of work, yo.
Yeah, yo,
That-
no, I
that-
never try and do
That
that.
is unnecessary. That is unnecessary." And that's my point.
They don't even.
We're not talking to each other.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like we're not like once we talk to each other and we figure out what everybody likes. Look, we all go. It's all gravy. We can all get along.
Yeah.
And a lot of you motherfuckers will be getting more pussy. So y'all should be initiating the fucking conversations.
Yeah.
Is what I'm saying.
Well, and look, the always the fundamental thing you have to remember with any of these clowns is these are these dudes never got laid. They never did. And the women on the other side who perpetuate this same shit, they might have gotten laid because, like, not to be a prick, guys will fuck anyone. Like, they quite literally will. Women are way more discerning, thank God. But you just kept running into the same shitty dudes because you kept picking the same shitty dudes, right? Like, the problem is we only talk on the extremes. Women ain't shit, and they want all these extreme things and everything else. And I'm like, dude, who are these women you're taught in real life? In real life, these women exist. This is all of the women you talk to. If you don't buy me a Birkin bag on my first date, we can't hang out. That's not a real
I'd be like,
person,
I don't
yo.
even know what that is.
You're right.
So
I'm
you-
like, where do I
Like,
buy
you
it?
can be on your way, ma'am. What the fuck is that?
Is there a website I could pick one of these up? Like, I don't even know. But like, people talk as if those things are normal human reactions. They're not. And look, to your point earlier, Terrence, like, is the internet real life? No, it's not, but it does affect people in real life. That's the problem. Is like, you'll see people putting out things saying like, oh, I need XYZ and all these other standards that are like crazy, like, you know, monetarily and all this other stuff that make no sense. But then like a regular person will watch that and be like, that's what I want now. And you're like, but you do realize like the average person only makes like $40,000 a year, right? Like,
Yeah.
like, what are you talking about? Like, your spouse is supposed to buy you red bottom shoes? Like, yo, I can't afford
Again,
that.
I don't know what that is.
Right,
Like,
like,
why
no.
are they more expensive because someone painted the bottoms red? I don't get it.
Right? You could just
Is that
paint
how
your
that works?
Nikes red. I don't give a fuck. Do whatever you want, lady.
You take them custom made.
So like it's just that idea. I guess Micah dropped out. Just that idea of the expectations being completely flubbed because the internet tells people what they think is normal is a really scary thing. But no, I don't think the internet is real life. But I do think it affects people in a really weird way where they start to believe that it is. It's very strange.
Yeah, like entertainment really affects people, and these people that what's going on? That all these guys listen to, they target kids, right?
Yeah.
Well, not kids, but like teenagers. So they don't fucking know any better. And that's where they get all the information. And I feel bad for these kids that are going to be like in their 20s in the next 5 to 6 years.
Yeah,
because this is all they
see.
see.
Awakening.
Yeah, this is all they see, and it's gonna be unfortunate for them because they don't know. Yikes. Yeah, the internet is fucked up. Like you said, it's broken.
It is. Now, look,
and it's fucking us over.
I got to tell you, man, I don't, which is wild, right? Like this is like a Sideshow Bob moment on The Simpsons. Like, yes, I realize the irony of me appearing on the internet to say this, right? But at the same time, like, I'm not going to allow my daughter to have social media when she's of age. I'm not.
I saw somebody on Twitter, and I'm like, if I had a kid, like they'd have like a flip phone. It's like I'm not giving them access to the goddamn internet until they're fucking old enough, because the internet is just fucked up.
No, it gives young women complexes about like what they look like. It gives young men complexes about what they look like or whether they're successful enough, or young women, are they successful enough? Look, I teach a college course that I deal with college age young men and women and high school kids, right? And like we did a semester where we talked about like social media's impact, and the shit that these kids are exposed to is insane. Like we all have our algorithm that we see and all this other shit, but when you start to think about like a 14-year-old kid seeing this and like the level of like, oh, well, there's other kids who are super successful and doing all this other stuff more than me and everything else, and it's like, that's all fake. That's just not real. But they don't know, right? So then they stress out about it and stuff like that, let alone, like bullying and all the other shit that goes along with the internet against, high school and college kids. So it's that's a big no for me for social media. Like
that's what it was. It was
not for my kid.
The guy was in front of Congress, the owner of, or the CEO of TikTok. He was in front of Congress a couple weeks ago, and he was like, "I don't let my kids use that shit."
No.
And I know, like, because like I follow this shit, that most tech company CEOs do not let, like, whether it be developers, they don't let their kids use the technology they created, because I created it, but people are using it for evil. So I'm not going to let my kid use it until they're old enough. And all of them do that. I didn't know people didn't know that, but now they do. And that's why I'm like, I wouldn't let my kid use that shit either. And they were like, well, they're going to find out how to use it anyway. I'm like, well, true.
But guess
that's true. But I'm not going to be the reason why they get to it. I'm going to try to keep them away from it
as much as I can. Or you hope that you raise a kid who actually listens to you. That is
well, I mean, good luck.
Yeah.
Because I listened to my parents to
an extent.
To a degree. I had to learn the hard way sometimes, but and I was a good kid. I really was. It's fucked up.
Jury's out.
Like I feel like we as Black folks, I don't know if it's because of racism that we are affected more, because white people don't really have to worry about a whole bunch of this shit. Like they just got to worry about like the racist cousins, and even then they don't have to worry about them because it's not going to affect them.
They should worry about them.
They should, but like we worry. We have to worry about so much more.
Yeah,
and the internet doesn't necessarily help.
Yeah,
with the corners of the internet that like a lot of us delve into, it just exacerbates just nonsense. And unfortunately, people don't do their due diligence when it comes to learning what's real and what's fake.
Yeah. Look, man, before we get out of here, the only advice I can give you is stop listening to people who don't get pussy on how to get pussy. Or dick, depending on whether you're
whatever floats your boat.
Yeah, like don't listen to those people, man.
Don't listen to people that don't know how to, talk to people outside of their podcast and just blame each other for everything.
Yeah.
Because
It's not all women's fault. It's not all black women's fault why you can't get laid. Guess what? It ain't all black men's fault why you can't find a good man or whatever. Like, it's not. It's not. Sometimes it's your fault. Because you're an asshole. Like you are.
Yeah.
You're like, look, it's okay. Like we all got our shit. I got my shit, right? Like I'm not a perfect person either. I have prick tendencies, as you may have heard over the many 241 episodes, right? But like, we have to look within and look at ourselves and see what we're doing and everything else, because it's not always an external issue, man. It's not, especially when it comes to relationships and shit like that. It's a lot of times is you, like straight up. So, all right, that is it for us. We will be back with episode 242. Miss Juneteenth. Again, you can rent that on any of the big platforms, Amazon, YouTube, that sort of thing. Check that out, and we will see you guys next week.
Take it easy.
Bye. You're watching the Black on Black Cinema YouTube channel. Make sure you check out our full reviews of black movies, past and present, and every other week we do a preview episode where we talk about a random topic that affects the black community.